Just to give you a sneak preview on how the recording works, we are 4.5 minutes after the final siren has sounded. I've set up my iPad here so I can have a look at some numbers. I can still hear the post game going on in the lounge room. I have checked this AFL app about half a dozen times to actually make sure we won. That's where I'm at. Let's talk about what just happened. Now, Crows fans, if you're watching, if you are genuinely, I promise you that you deserve your own discussion and dissection of the good, the bad, and the ugly. You genuinely do, because two top four teams play, no matter the quality, when the game's that good, circa the Brisbane game just last week, it's, I gave Adelaide and Brisbane their flowers as deserved last week. I'm not doing that with this game because these are my biased Hawthorn takes. You know that I have been on your side all year, and I still feel that was the great escape, led by the fact that you guys, for some reason, just didn't want to hit the scoreboard in the first half. And what I want, this coming back to the Hawthorn thing now, what I don't want Hawthorn fans to do is to get caught up in the negative. I don't want this to turn into a this could have been, should have been, what if, and to get bogged down in those sorts of things. Now, I'm not exactly saying that we need to be on the other end of the spectrum and that we need to be, engraving premiership cups or anything stupid like that. But what I don't want to happen here is to go, oh, it was only just and blah, blah, blah. Your reaction to this, I think, is actually going to tell me a lot about you as a fan. And I'm kind of at the numb elation kind of point at this, stage of recording. So, incredible. 11 goals, 25. I reckon there was about 8 shots on goal that missed that shouldn't have. Adelaide's 3 tall forwards kick 0 goals 9 or something, which is just dumb. But yeah, in terms of the Hawks themselves, the second half was obviously huge. Now, I said we're not going to get bogged down in the negatives, but we'll just touch on a few and then we'll skimmy past. I don't even know what words I'm trying to say. We'll scoot past it. I suppose when we tackle, we win. Simple as that. And it seemed like every quarter we wanted to do something badly. And the first quarter was tackling. That was the only quarter really that we had a lot of missed tackles, I felt, just watching it without having the effective tackle stat. In fact, how many did we have as a team? This might make for terrible recording, but I'm going to have a look at this. How many tackles do we have? Anyway, as I look this up, here we go. 79. Okay, that did not feel like we had 79 at the start of this game, but our pressure was really down, and it became we just looked gross. Adelaide kept us in it, so thank you very much for that. I appreciate it, but the second quarter, it just became composure. We wanted to do composure really badly. We were kicking to contests, which was actually not that big of a deal. Now, in terms of contested marks or marking, so contested marks here, we took 5. They took 15, which is remarkable, by the way. But what was incredible is that we were kicking to disadvantage just so often. It was bonkers in that second quarter. The third quarter, we fought our way back into it, but scoring with momentum was the thing that we wanted to do badly in the third quarter. And then in the final quarter, the thing that we wanted to do badly was execution, really. And it felt like it was all over the ground until that final block of 5 minutes, which was really encouraging. In terms of a few players, I love the pencil, but he and Connor Nash can just never play in the same side again. With Connor's 4-year extension, I am relatively convinced that the pencil is not really going to have a future at the Hawks, which sucks. Because, well, not in his current role, which sucks, because I love the pencil, but it's clear that we want to go with Nash. I don't blame us for doing so. Nash wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination, just the 10 touches, but yeah, those two just can't work together, and I feel for Maxi Ramsden a bit, because whether you believe that it's God-given ability, or whether you believe that it is the hard work, application, a mixture of both, whatever you're thinking, he's been possessed with an ability to fly through the air and rarely get outmarked, and up the ground, he really wasn't getting outmarked that much. He's been given an ability, or he's inherited an ability, to be so clean below his knees. In the air below his knees, he has potential, I think, to get to the B+ level of talent. Fortunately, that's offset by the fact that the poor bugger can't kick and can't handball, which is a relatively big problem, I would have thought. So, yeah, those two, not that great. And Seamus Mitchell as well just might be the guy that we go, yep, if you want to hand over a late third round pick to us, we might be able to pawn him off. I don't know if Sheamus is going to have a long future at the club in the slightest. Now, in terms of, look, the side tonight, is he the one that would drop out for Sicily? Yeah, he would be. Now, is he all right as a depth piece? Of course he is, but if he wants to get more opportunity, he can. Outside of that, in terms of negatives, let's get into some positives. We want some positives out of this because we actually did win the game. I don't know if the first 5.5 minutes of this recording is showing that in full. Jarman Impey, and I've never been more grateful, and I really am grateful that I'm having a daughter in just a couple of weeks, it looks like, which is very exciting, but I've never been more grateful that I'm not having a boy because my partner and I had a boy's name and a girl's name picked out before we found out the gender of our baby, and I feel like I would have campaigned to change it to Jarman after this because he was extraordinary. Dylan Moore, 13 tackles, 23 disposals. Oh, captain, my captain. My goodness me. Joshy Weddle was fantastic as well. He had 23. Josh Ward had 20. Used the ball okay, but Josh, the fumbles, my man. No, we said we were done with negatives, Daz, so move on. Sam Butler, I thought was fantastic as well. But again, a couple of big shifts. So Watson in at the centre bounce. Didn't do a whole lot of wizardry things, but when he attacks the ball in a linear pattern, and we saw it with the Mitch Hinge tackle, he's just impossible to stop, the Wizard. So I do wonder whether it is him that tries to become the next sort of high half forward. I thought Jack Ginnivan's last quarter was outstanding. Jai Newcomb's last quarter was very good as well. Josh Battle did Josh Battle things, which I do not mind in the slightest. We love Josh Battle things. I thought Tom Barras, apart from the first contest with Riley Thilthorpe where he played front shoulder, everything outside of that, Tommy Barras was awesome. And I have a sick feeling in my stomach that Hawthorn fans on social media are just not going to respect that performance. They really weren't. But Connor McDonald's second half was fantastic as well. He kicked a couple of goals, had 15 disposals. I loved what CJ did in that second half. He had 13 as well. He was fan-bloody-tastic. I thought the way that Gunston presented, he kicked 2 goals, 3. He had another game where he probably should have kicked 4, to be perfectly honest. But in a game where you have, obviously, the rest of the Hawthorn forwards, you've got Thilthorpe, Walker, and I know the conditions didn't really suit them, but Adelaide played them, and Daniel Curtin looked so good in the air. Took 4 contested marks. Did Daniel Curtin. Might have even been 5, but I think it was 4. Anywho, the point of this story that I'm trying to tell you is that Adelaide played their guys, and Jack Gunston, I should say, was the most dangerous forward. And I've got to give credit to Blake Hardwick. The way that he played Taylor Walker in that second half was unbelievable. Weddle did a really good job on Walker as well for the majority of the day. I would have loved to have seen a bit of a cleaner game from Massimo D'Ambrosio, if I'm being honest. I love Mass, but this half Carl Amon, half Matt Suckling kicking style at the moment, it just ain't working, right? It's like Dazzling with his 56-degree wedge. They're all ending up short, and it's doing my head in, and so is my golf game, to be perfectly honest with you. But outside of it, the midfield got absolutely wrecked in the first half, and conditions helped that. Now, you could either sit on the fence and be like, well, if the conditions were better, the midfield would play better, or you could think of it as, well, if the conditions were better, their midfield would have slaughtered us even more. Unfortunately, I think I sit in the second camp there, because you look at our midfielders, Ward 20, Butler 19, Newcomb 15, Nash 11, 10. For Connor Nash. Like, that's just not good enough at all. And I put it on Twitter and I agree with it. Give Zach Butters $2 million for a decade. Give me Will Day back and Newcomb, Day and Butters, and we're winning the flag, let me tell you. So 9 and 5 is where we sit as we go into, I think we got the bye now, and then we got North Melbourne afterwards, because that's when Bubs is meant to be here, and Bubs is meant to be here in the week that Hawthorn and North play, and I'm Hawthorn and her mum is North. Yeah, good's that. Overall, though, I'm still in kind of a sense of numb elation, to be perfectly honest with you. I am still a little bit dumbfounded at what I've just watched. I'm just checking one more time. We still won. So, love that for us. Love the changes that Sam Mitchell made. Love the tackling pressure that we got. The 2 guys that I want to shed out from the tackling point of view, and there might be something in this, but Jarman Impey, Dylan Moore, Jack Ginnivan, and Sam Butler, those 4 in particular, the amount of times that a player, Hawthorn player, doesn't matter who it is, we're tackling an Adelaide guy. I love how I'm miming hugging myself right now, but we're tackling a guy, and one of those 4 would just run at the contest and just create a 2-on-1 tackle. Those little things were awesome to see. I bloody love it. Our bottom 6 guys didn't kill us as much tonight, but fingers crossed by the time we hit the back end of the year, Day, Lewis, and Deer are back in the fold. And what the heck we're going to do with that forward structure is going to be really damn bloody interesting, because if Lewis and Deer play, how the hell are we going to drop Gunston? We ain't dropping Mabs, who, by the way, I should talk about Mabs. As soon as the ball hit the ground, didn't have a great aerial night, but that wasn't the game that we needed. How many marks did he take, actually? I think he took 2 marks on the night, which is not that big a deal in these conditions. But his work defensively on the ground in the second half, after the junk that I saw a lot of Hawthorn fans give on social media, Mabs firmly giving an up yours. The pressure that he delivered was enormous. The spoil at the end as well, as Ben Keys came into the corridor, was genuinely impressive. Now, in terms of the Hawks MVP, the votes are there on the board. Jarman, Impey, we so far the 5 votes. It's extraordinary. Welcome to the Hawks MVP, Sam Butler. Shout out to you, my friend. Dylan Moore, of course, is going to feature in there. I've got Joshy Weddle in there as well. We're just loving everything that is happening. And in terms of the value that Connor McDonald brought to the second half, I've snuck him in there for a vote as well. Thank you so much for watching. The Hawks are 9-5. I still feel weird, but I'm looking forward to a big day of footy tomorrow, and you can check out the Saturday session on Saturday night. Hawks fans, hope you're as happy as I am, if not happier. Don't be dwelling on the negatives of how bad a game it was. And after the first half of genuine shithousery, I want no one speaking about the umpires either, because it's like they brought out a different rule book in the second half. It was extraordinary. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, Hawks fans. Like the video, subscribe to join the Daz Talk Footy family. My name is Daz. You have been absolutely awesome. I appreciate you watching. Goodbye.